Hey everyone, in this quick video, I'm gonna show you how I do gym equipment upholstery. First things first, I'm not an expert. My skill level on this is basically just good enough to get the job done. There are much better tutorial options on YouTube if you're looking to master the art of upholstery. Okay, here's what you'll need. Wood. This can be pine board, plywood, MDF. It doesn't really matter as long as it's sturdy. Padding. This stuff is actually more expensive than I would have thought, but one roll of padding will usually last you a few projects. Some sort of material to cover the padding. I use fake leather. It's inexpensive and it looks great. Nail gun or a staple gun. I mean, I guess you could nail this stuff in manually too. If you're gonna do a lot of upholstery, it's worth investing in a nail gun. Spray adhesive and spray paint. These are both optional, but I'll show you why I like to use them. By the way, I have links to all of these products in the description of this video. By purchasing from those links, you help to support the channel. Okay, here we go. First, I'll show you the fancy way to do it, a removable pad. This is similar to the pads you see on manufactured fitness equipment. I'm using 1/2 inch thick plywood cut to the same dimensions as my 2x12. These long rip cuts are much easier with a table saw, but can also be done with a circular saw or a jigsaw. I lay the 2x12 on top of the plywood so I can mark and drill my holes. These holes don't have to be perfectly symmetrical, but it helps if you think you may want to remove the pad at some point. I clamp my pieces together before drilling my holes. I'll be using 1/4 inch bolts to attach these pieces, so I use a 3/8 inch Forstner bit to give myself a little extra room. Once I'm through the 2x12, I move it and drill the rest of the way through the plywood. I flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. I'm using prolonged T-nuts to secure the bolts for the pad. These just hammer in, super easy. I flip the plywood over and lay the 2x12 over the top. You'll want to make sure the holes line up before moving on to the next step. Mine line up perfectly. Time for padding. I'm using 1 inch thick upholstery foam. If you want more padding, you can go thicker or just double up. I lay the plywood on top and mark where I need to cut the foam. The foam will go on the same side as the T-nuts. I spray some adhesive down before placing the foam. My foam is not quite long enough, but that's an easy fix. I can use a scrap piece to fill in the missing part. The material I use to cover the foam is black vinyl. It's easy to work with and it looks great. You'll want an excess of about 2.5 inches on each side. After cutting the material, I'm ready to staple it. I'm actually using a pneumatic nail gun / stapler. The trick to stapling is that you need to have the right staples and proper amount of pressure. I'm using 1/2 inch staples because my plywood is 1/2 inch. The pressure will be determined by the length of your staples and the density of the wood. You should make sure to test the pressure before starting this step. Once that's set, you lay the fabric down and staple. You staple the sides first, making sure the fabric is tight. Be careful not to staple your fingers. Corners are tricky, and I still haven't figured out how to make them look good, but as long as the staples hold the fabric down, it's fine. I spray paint the 2x12 piece before attaching the pad. I don't bother spraying the part that's covered by the pad. The next part is super easy as long as your holes line up properly. Once the bolts are secure, this thing is good to go. Okay, that was a fancy way. Now here's the easy way. Instead of using prolonged T-nuts, you can use short lag screws and go straight in. The tricky thing about this method is that short screws are not super secure and long screws might poke through the padding. On my rack attached preacher pad, I used L brackets to secure the pads to the 2x4s. Easy and quick. Boom, you're good to go. And that's it. Not super difficult, not super easy, but it's one of those things that you get better at every single time you do it. If you like this video, let me know what other basics I should cover and I'll add it to my list. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.